Hello and welcome to the walkthrough of the wireframe and gameplay design of And Scene. So starting off here, we're going to look at the gameplay design in this flowchart, starting with the five different scenes that we have and the ending. So you can see within each one of these scene structures, it starts with a random turn order and a random director. So the random director is going to be the one controlling how long the scene goes on for. They can press an and a scene button and stop the scene at any time. And also they'll be in charge of choosing items for the entire group. As you can see, there are two selections that happen during the prologue. The director first selects a setting and the player selects a role. And then in Act 1, the player selects their own player goal, and the scene is also extended to 10 minutes. Then in Act 2, the director then selects a complication for the entire group, again another 10-minute scene. In Act 3, each player selects their own individual twist, and then a scene of 10 minutes. And in the epilogue, there is no selection, and each player gets their own 1-minute scene to wrap up loose ends. And then at the end, everyone will view each other's prompts. So as I go through this wireframe briefly, hopefully you can see some of this gameplay in action. So moving right along to the first screen that you'll see on the group device. So for the group device, you'll log into your account first, and then you'll pull up this main screen that shows the website you need to go to on your personal device and also a code that you can enter. This is very similar to how Jackbox Games and Kahoot works. And then you can also see all the other players that have entered the room. And then jumping onto the personal device view for this very same section, you can see on the center screen that is going to be the main one you go to, and that you can enter the stage code that you find on the group device, and then also enter your nickname, and then you press the and join button to join. And if you're the first player in, you'll go to that screen on the right, and you'll be the host and can get everything started. But if not, you'll go to the screen on the left, and you'll be waiting for the host to join. So now moving on to a bit with the paper prototype, you can see that there are the 5 different things you can select shown as cards for the paper prototype. But now alongside the actual application itself, you can see that each player draws 3 different of each item, starting off just showing off the roles selection. So each player is given 3 roles to choose from. As you can see, player 1, their options are shown, but everyone else is secret, so you will not be seeing the other players besides your own options. But then you can select that option and discard the rest of the cards, and you won't see the other 3 options that you had. And then if you are the director, for example, when the director has to select the setting in the first instance, only the director, in this case player 1, your player, can see the options that are available, and then you select those options and then you move on. So looking at the web page portion of the prototype, you can see that starting off with the prologue, you can only see the setting up on the group device, but you can also see the progress that you're making. You see that, of course, the P on top, which represents prologue, is highlighted. There's also a timer for 5 minutes that's big and obvious for the players so that they can just double check what that is. You can also view who the director is at any moment, and you can also view who the other players are. Jumping back to your personal device, though, on your personal device, as the scene goes on, you will be able to see all of your different selections that you've made for your own prompts. So you're here for player 1, you can see the role of a firefighter and the player goal of start a fight were selected. And you'll also notice that these become smaller when other things are selected, such as the twist in that next screenshot. So the twist is going to be bigger and bolder because it has been selected more recently and the player has become more comfortable with the other selections that they've made. You'll also notice that there is a pause button right in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So that is so any players can pause the action at any time. If they need to take a break or if they're feeling uncomfortable, they have the option to do so. And then looking at the director's point of view, the only difference if you are the director is that once again, you'll be seeing the specific options, which will look exactly the same as the option screen that we saw earlier. But you'll also see the prompts that it tells you you're the director, with some flavor text, and then you also have the option of pressing the and scene button, and this will stop the timer on the main device and move the action over into the next sequence. So if you're in Act 1, if you press and scene, it will move right along to Act 2, and so on. Jumping back to the web application, though, I just want to go through what the screenshots will look like as the game automatically goes through the different acts. So once again, this is the prologue. In Act 1, the highlighter moves to Act 1, and you see the P is left yellow and the rest is black to show that those are yet to come, but P has been accomplished and 1 is selected. Still, no other options for the entire group have been made, but the director has changed and the time limit has increased. Moving to Act 2, you can see that now the director has selected a complication, and also the setting has gotten a bit smaller. A new director has been chosen, and the time is once again 10 minutes. Moving on to 3, once again leaving all of the different stages that have already been completed left yellow, and the stages yet to come are black. The complication has gotten smaller because most likely the player will not need to reference it as much since they are used to it. Once again, a new director has been selected, and there are 10 minutes. And then finally, for the epilogue, because each player will be highlighted, you can see instead of having the prompts up here, because they've seen the prompts so much throughout the rest of the game that the player is the only one on display, and the player's timer is on display as well. And then finally, looking at the end of the game is simply going to go through everyone's personal prompts up on the big screen so that each player can see what everyone else has selected. And as you can see in the paper version of this game, that it just goes through revealing all of your cards and reading through them to your friends. But that is the entire wireframe for and the paper prototype for and scene. It is fully playable right now, at least in the physical edition, and we're going to move into player testing very, very soon. Thank you for watching.